On July 20th, 2021, Fiserv Forum, the new home of the Milwaukee Bucks, hosted a historic moment, the team's first championship in over half a century. But what most people don't know is that this striking arena, now crowned with a championship title, was born out of a deep crisis. One that, had it not been resolved at the very last moment, would have left Milwaukee still dreaming of glory. With envy-inducing acoustics, rare zinc-clad walls, a roof inspired by a glacier, and now a championship, the city has every reason to be proud. But before all of this happened, the picture looked far less optimistic. A controversial public funding deal and the very real threat of losing the team to Las Vegas meant history could have taken a much darker turn. This is the story of how the arena that just hoisted a trophy almost never got built. To understand how it all began, we have to rewind to the moment Milwaukee nearly lost its team for good. By the early 2010s, the Bucks were in serious trouble. Their longtime home, the BMO Harris Bradley Center, once seen as state-of-the-art when it opened in 1988, had fallen far behind modern NBA standards. It lacked premium seating, had outdated amenities, and couldn't compete with newer arenas in revenue generation. In the high-stakes world of professional basketball, that spelled danger. In 2014, hedge fund billionaires Mark Lasry and Wes Edens purchased the team from longtime owner Herb Kohl. But there was a catch. The NBA approved the sale only on the condition that a new arena be built. Without it, the league made one thing clear: Milwaukee would lose its team. The most likely destinations? Seattle or Las Vegas. This ultimatum turned an already urgent issue into a full-blown crisis. A new arena wasn't just about keeping up with the league, it was about keeping basketball in Milwaukee altogether. That reality lit a fire under both city officials and state legislators. Within months, talks began on how to finance a new stadium. But what followed wasn't smooth negotiation. It was a public brawl over money.
Having a $250 million investment on the public's part, $250 million investment on the private sector's part, is going to put people to work.
Lasry and Edens were billionaires, critics argued. So why should taxpayers foot the bill? Supporters, including former owner Herb Kohl, who himself donated money toward the project, countered that the arena would spark economic growth and civic pride. Eventually, a financing deal came together. With a tentative green light, the project moved into the planning phase. For the design, the Bucks tapped world-renowned sports architecture firm Populous, known for projects like Yankee Stadium, T-Mobile Arena, and many others, alongside local partner HNTB. Together, they envisioned an arena that would reflect Milwaukee's unique character. They leaned into the city's industrial heritage and natural geography. Beyond the building itself, the vision extended to what would become the Deer District, a pedestrian-friendly zone packed with restaurants, bars, and public spaces designed to keep fans engaged long after the final buzzer. Still, one question lingered. Even with plans on paper, could a divided city, with clashing views on money and priorities, rally to make it real? That answer would be revealed once construction began. With funding secured, the Bucks broke ground on their new arena on June 18, 2016, just 2 years after the team's new owners took over. And from the first shovel in the ground, everything about this build had to walk a tightrope between innovation and budget, ambition and urgency, controversy and redemption. Construction was led by Mortensen Construction, a firm with a strong reputation in large-scale sports and entertainment venues. The goal? Deliver an NBA-caliber arena within 24 months, on budget, on schedule, and under the national spotlight. First, the site itself posed a unique challenge. Fiserv Forum was planned on a 30-acre parcel of land in downtown Milwaukee, a tight urban zone surrounded by existing infrastructure. That meant demolition, excavation, and preparation had to be handled with surgical precision. Every truckload of soil, every ton of steel, had to be timed perfectly to avoid disrupting traffic or businesses nearby. Once the foundation was poured, the next step was one of the project's most technically ambitious components, the arena roof. Inspired by the flow of Wisconsin's rivers and the movement of glacial ice, the roof was designed as a sweeping, asymmetrical wave, beautiful to look at, but complex to build. It was constructed using a massive, long-span steel truss system, with the longest trusses stretching over 300 feet across the arena bowl, long enough to span a football field end to end. These pieces were prefabricated and lifted into place using tower cranes with extreme precision. The trusses supported not only the weight of the roof, but also the massive overhead scoreboard, lighting rigs, and acoustic systems needed for world-class events. That scoreboard, built by Daktronics, features 4 main video screens, each nearly 25 feet high by 29 feet wide, roughly the size of a 2-story house. In total, the arena contains over 12 high-definition displays, including a 36-foot wide outdoor screen in the beer garden and a 12-foot wide interview room display used for press conferences and media coverage. The arena's sound system was integrated with emergency systems designed to maintain acoustic clarity at both whisper quiet and full volume conditions, something other teams would later study when planning new venues. On the exterior, the builders used zinc cladding panels, a rare but deliberate choice. Zinc not only gives the building its unique metallic tone, reminiscent of Milwaukee's industrial heritage, but also weathers naturally over time, developing a patina that protects it from corrosion. In other words, the longer it stands, the stronger it gets. Inside the design was all about intimacy and energy. The 17,500-seat bowl was built with steep sightlines, drawing fans closer to the action than most arenas. No seat was more than about 50 feet from the court, roughly half the length of a basketball court, and the layout eliminated long stretches of empty space to keep energy levels high. The arena also boasts 34 luxury suites, 1,500 club seats, and a panoramic sky lounge called the Panorama Club, with sweeping views of the Milwaukee skyline. But it wasn't just for the elite. Concession stands were strategically placed for maximum access, and walkways were widened to reduce congestion during peak hours. Then came the sustainability push. Fiserv Forum was built to LEED Silver standards, making it one of the NBA's greenest arenas at the time of its opening. Key features included high-efficiency HVAC systems, water reuse systems for restrooms and landscaping, low-emission building materials, LED lighting throughout the venue, and bicycle parking and electric vehicle charging stations. The construction team also made a conscious effort to hire local and minority-owned contractors, with over 40% of the construction workforce coming from Milwaukee's underserved communities. It wasn't just about building an arena, it was about giving the city a stake in its own future. Despite the complexity, the project stayed remarkably close to schedule. The roof structure was completed in summer 2017, and by early 2018, the interior was taking shape. Seats installed, concession stands built, and AV systems tested. Fiserv Forum officially opened on August 26, 2018, with a sold-out Paul McCartney concert, followed by the Bucks' preseason opener just weeks later. But the arena wasn't built in isolation. It was the crown jewel of a broader development vision called the Deer District. While the Forum went vertical, work also began on the surrounding 30 acres. Event plazas, entertainment venues, public art installations, and food courts designed to keep fans downtown before and after games. What had once been a neglected corridor of Milwaukee began to pulse with life. Art from local Milwaukee artists was also installed throughout the arena, adding to its community-rooted identity.
They grew up like I did in the inner city in Milwaukee to have a piece at the new Bucks arena. I made it. That's how it feels to me.
Amenities also include assisted listening devices and ADA-accessible seating throughout the venue, ensuring accessibility and inclusivity. In fact, Fiserv Forum's acoustics and crowd dynamics were so successful, they were studied by other franchises. The NBA itself praised the building for its combination of intimacy, atmosphere, and architectural identity. And the payoff? Just 3 years after it opened, in the summer of 2021, Fiserv Forum hosted the Bucks' legendary championship run. Giannis dropped 50 points in Game 6 of the Finals, clinching the team's first title in half a century, right there on the court that almost never existed. Outside, over 65,000 fans packed the Deer District in scenes that would go viral worldwide. The message was clear. Milwaukee had built more than an arena. It had built a fortress, and maybe even a little destiny. Today, Fiserv Forum stands as a rare example of a high-stakes public-private investment that, at least in the short term, delivered what it promised. The total construction cost of $524 million was split between public and private sources, but the path to that agreement was anything but smooth. The public funding, $250 million, was drawn from a complex blend of city, county, and state contributions. The state of Wisconsin pledged $55 million. Milwaukee County added another $55 million, and the city of Milwaukee committed $47 million. The rest was financed through bonds and taxes collected by the Wisconsin Center District, specifically targeting hotels, rental cars, and food and beverage purchases. This funding plan was made possible by Wisconsin Act 60, passed in 2015, which included a controversial mechanism often called the jock tax. It projected that future income taxes paid by Bucks players and visiting NBA teams would eventually cover the state's share. Critics viewed it as a thinly veiled subsidy for wealthy owners, while supporters argued it was a smart way to keep the team in the city without directly raising new taxes. On the private side, former owner Herb Kohl contributed an unprecedented $100 million to the project, while the Bucks ownership group, led by Mark Lasry and Wes Edens, covered approximately $174 million. Naming rights were sold to financial tech firm Fiserv in a 20-year deal estimated to be worth $6 to $10 million annually. Initially, the deal sparked public outrage. Many residents wondered why a city struggling with education gaps and public service shortfalls would invest so heavily in a luxury venue. But after the Bucks won their first NBA title in 50 years, hosted in the very arena built under so much pressure, the tide of public opinion shifted. What had once seemed like a billionaire bailout began to look like a bold, unifying investment. The Deer District, once dismissed as PR fluff, is now a bustling hub of year-round activity.
This is promoting a lot of business. You see everybody out. It doesn't get much better than this.
Fiserv Forum helped more than double the team's franchise value and continues to draw major events and new development. But beyond revenue and championships, the arena has done something harder to quantify. It gave Milwaukee a reason to believe in itself again. Ready to be amazed by the next groundbreaking construction project? Click on the video now and dive into a world where engineering and imagination collide. See you there.